Warning, this podcast contains second-degree burns. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Pretty Little Liars, Season 6, Episode 18. Burn this. With me, my co-host April. Oh, I'm your host Dom. With me, my co-host April. Yeah, I'm not important. Just April.
Yeah, just me. It's
just
all
April.
about me.
It's the April show.
Yes.
So.
I always wanted my own show.
There you go. Yeah. So, what'd you think of this episode? Well, what'd you think of last week's episode first, since you missed last week?
It was good. I'm really enjoying the action in it. There you go. That's what I want.
Awesome.
Mean, it's getting more interesting. So.
Well, I'm glad you were feeling better.
About,
yeah.
More like 80% better.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Still good. Glad you're feeling better at all. Right? and on the road to recovery. But like this episode was insane.
Yeah. Allie getting married.
To Elliot.
Randomly,
is this the first time we've heard his first name? Because this is the first time I remembered it.
Yeah, I was always Mr.
Dr. Rollins. Dr.
Rollins. Yeah. So
they all started talking about him, like, oh, Elliot, they're on a first name basis with her doctor, like all of a sudden.
Friends, like, oh yeah, Allison and Elliot.
Wasn't that the name of Pete's dragon?
I don't know.
I think it was. Elliot the dragon? No, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. You're.
It's been a long time since I've seen that Disney movie, so I don't know.
Way over my head.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the end of last week's episode, we saw the quote unquote A playing with the universal remotes, and then we had seen the wedding cake at the end. Did you notice the wedding cake?
No.
Okay. Well, when it panned over from the remote controls, it panned over to a piece of wedding cake. And I was like, okay, so that means that A was at the wedding ceremony for Ella and Byron. Is that his name?
Yes,
Byron.
yes.
Yeah.
I was just gonna go with Arya's dad, but yes.
And I was like, okay, so I go back and I'm looking through the episode and I'm like trying to look at everybody in the place. I couldn't find anybody, so it turns out that it's quote-unquote the wedding photographer, even though it seemed like Arya was covering double duty as being the one to give the marriage license, whatever, justice of the peace, and also doubling as the photographer. I mean, she's into photography, but that's a big double duty there, because then nobody's taking pictures of the ceremony itself.
Exactly.
So I don't know if it was necessarily the wedding photographer, because she goes, oh, this is when I wasn't taking the pictures. So she was taking some of them. But yeah, so, because she's like, wait, I was in this picture. Like, it's a surprise? Like, that you were doing the ceremony too, right? Like,
right.
I don't know. So at least we found out what A was doing there, because whenever they show, because you remember last season, not just last season, but all the seasons before, where they show you like a little hint of something, and then it turns out to be like absolutely nothing, and we're like, what the hell was that? Like, why was he fixing a transistor radio? Like,
like, thanks for the little clip, but what did it do for me? Yeah. No, this time they're giving us more hints, I want to say.
Yeah.
To who's doing this.
Yeah, and seeing the remote controls, being used too, I was like, what the hell are they going to use the remote controls for? And then it was like early on in the episode when they were discussing Hannah's party, and Mrs. Marin was helping, set it up, and she's like, oh, I can't figure out how to use this, and Hannah was like, yeah, my the entire loft is basically a giant app, and I was like, oh no.
Oh great.
I go, oh no, this is what the remotes are for.
Exactly.
So yeah, that party it got hot in there real quick.
Yeah, a little too hot. I mean, she may have wanted a tan, but not that way.
Yeah. Are you she only ended up with second-degree burns. So
yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It could have been worse, but still, that's not something you want to happen.
Yeah. I was very suspicious, though, at the beginning of the party when Mona showed up.
I was too, although I feel Mona can't be that suspicious anymore. I mean, she's suspicious, obviously, but I feel like, I mean, after all that time that the girls went through and Mona was being harassed too, like, cut the girl a break.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't doing it at the end. She was a part of the A team in the beginning, but then things switched and she was being harassed just like they were.
Well, yeah, she was. But I can't always help but be like, okay, Mona's shady. Like, it's in my head. Like, it's ingrained, and I can't help it. And then, like, we find out when Arya was earlier called to the station by Lieutenant Tanner, who I keep calling her...
Right.
I've been calling her Detective Tanner the whole time, and I didn't connect that she's been, Lieutenant now.
Oops.
Yeah. So Lieutenant Tanner, approached Arya and was like, look, I want you to come in for a lineup. We have an eyewitness who saw you at the Two Crows Diner, or saw someone at the Two Crows Diner that you fit a description to. The description was an attractive brunette.
Which, okay, here's my thing with Mrs. Tanner. She is a ruthless lady. Like, first of all, I mean, I know technically her alibi is not great or real, but she has an alibi. She has 3 other girls saying that she was there that entire night. Like, why are you going to go after her and not the other tens of thousand brunettes in Rosewood?
I mean, Lieutenant Tanner's always been, like, shady of them. Like, she's been suspicious from the beginning.
Right,
yes, she's seen they've been through some trauma and stuff, but if somebody's going to be murdered and it's the person that's been torturing them this whole time, I'd be a little suspicious of them too. And then you have the security tape from that night just happens to be missing from the hotel that they're staying at. And, and even if the security footage was there, they would have seen Arya leave. So, there's all things that I can't really blame Detective Tanner or Lieutenant Tanner when it comes down to it. But that doesn't make me like her. No, I don't like her at all.
I mean, just because you feel that they're a little shady and that only things happen when they're in town doesn't mean that you can go after somebody the way she goes after them. Like, it just makes me hate her. She's the evil person. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The other part of the description says there was a keychain with pink dice.
Right.
Which we found out was, in fact, Mona. Yeah. So it goes right back to being suspicious of Mona again.
Shady. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really suspicious, though. I mean, I know we should be, but I feel like there's got to be some reasonable explanation behind it. I guess, I don't know. She has me fooled.
Well, Emily confronted her, told her to get in the car and talk. They have to talk now. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll find out more, but...
Oh, yeah, next week.
Super.
This coming week.
Yeah. I'm super suspicious of her. I'm always going to be, and there's nothing that she can ever do that's going to make me not think that she's in on something.
It's fair enough. I mean, you clearly have a bunch of reasons why you can...
And she's not the only one. Like, Melissa is another great fucking example.
Melissa, she is so shady.
Yeah. And
she
Spencer's...
just takes off every time.
Spencer's dad is equally as shady.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, that guy... I could not trust that guy as far as I could throw him.
No. After, like, everything he lied about to everybody to begin with, like, about Jason, you know, and being his half-son. Well, I mean, he's his son. Spencer's half-sister, I should say.
Right.
Half-brother.
Half-brother. Yes. I knew what you meant.
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
Yes. But, he comes in demanding, like, Spencer, you got to get away from Caleb. You have to make a statement, like a public statement to do all this. I'm like, dude, where the hell have you been this whole time?
Right? Like, I didn't even know that you were still around. I thought you were gone. And then you come in making these demands. And not for nothing, but I mean, they should realize that Caleb's a decent person. I know that, like, technically he supposedly leaked this information and that's really bad, da-da-da-da-da. But they can always come out. I mean, they're such shady family. They always protect, the biggest, littlest of lies. They make, like, the biggest scenarios that make it seem like this huge deal. I'm sure he could come up with, like, a 2-page lie explaining why Caleb did this and make it okay. Like,
Right.
don't make your daughter, like, have to give up one of her boyfriend, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
still not okay with this, so.
No. No,
Not at
but
all.
if it was Melissa, they take care of it
Oh,
because he's
yeah, they
just like,
would.
oh well, Melissa was being blackmailed because somebody has the confession video of her saying that she killed Bethany Young, and we continue to drop off money, thinking it would stop, and then Spencer's like, maybe this is the same person that's been harassing her and the girls,
Right.
and she doesn't tell her father that because they don't want anybody to
Well, I
know.
mean, how can you tell him anything though? Like that guy is just such an asshole.
Right.
He would make it about Melissa somehow again, and how Spencer's the horrible person.
Right. And you had Toby barging in to see Spencer,
Yeah.
or really to see
We
Caleb.
learned more about Toby, Toby and Spencer
Yeah.
and their history.
Yeah, we got some nice flashbacks on them.
Right.
Kind of tied into when they almost were pregnant and almost had to make a decision on whether or not to keep the baby. And it seemed
Right.
like Spencer was leaning in the direction of not keeping it.
And he was in the direction of keeping. They were going to be on completely opposite terms.
Yeah.
Well, opposite decisions or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But it explained why she would have never ever leaked that information about his new girlfriend,
Right.
knowing how she felt about that situation. And I felt bad for him because Toby is the protector.
He is.
So to hear
that's why he wants to be a police officer too, and to find out that that even though she said she didn't say it, she basically did when she's like, well, what about your dreams? And he's like, I want to be a police officer. You said you're going back to school. No, that's what you said you wanted.
right.
So like he was happy where he was.
Mm-hmm.
So
She wasn't.
no. So I mean, I get why it didn't work, but communication goes a long way.
It really does.
Instead of her just assuming, and it's not just her too. Like Toby needed
Him.
to sit down and be like, "Look, no, I want to be a police officer. If you're not
Right.
happy with this, if you're not comfortable with this, let's figure this out."
Right.
And they just were both going their own way together, separately, and I guess that's
It
why.
happens.
Yeah, it does. So, I guess that's why it got to where it did, and it seemed pretty realistic to me.
Yeah.
Like I could totally see that happening in real life.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, but when Toby had barged in to talk to Spencer looking for Caleb would not confess. Like he's like, no, I'm going to continue to cover this up. I'm not going to tell him.
Well, because he didn't want, him to go to the police department with what was happening because he didn't want to see the repercussions for the girls, blah, blah, blah. I get why he did it.
Yeah.
I also get why Spencer still told him the truth.
Well, yeah, that too. But did you expect Toby to deck Caleb like that?
Yeah, I did, actually. Only because I feel, like I said, he's the protector. That information was leaked. That hurt his girlfriend. He was pissed. He thought it was Caleb. And, I mean, think about it. Caleb's dating the girl that you kind of still love. I mean, obviously, there's some feelings there still.
Right.
That gave him a perfect excuse to hit the kid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, but when it was all said and done, and even after Spencer talked to Toby and explained everything or whatever, she still was feeling, some guilt. I think guilt from how she was feeling before, like in the flashback, like remembering the flashback and everything, where she called Yvonne and left a voicemail like, look, if you ever need to talk, we could talk. Mm-hmm. And that actually kind of surprised me.
That did surprise me. I did not expect her to call her, leave a voicemail, try to reach out at all. Like, I expected her to reach out to Toby. Mm-hmm. I did. I realized that was going to happen far before it did. But as soon as she made the phone call, I was like, whoa, all right. That's ballsy. I wouldn't have made that phone call. Do you not know how girls are?
Yeah, well, speaking of that, not knowing how girls are, Caleb was looking for, a room at the Radley. That's when Mrs. Marin offered Caleb a room in their old guest room, and Hannah starts freaking out. Yeah.
I think there is definitely some feelings for each of those old couples, they're still there. And, she doesn't want to be around him because he's with Spencer and she's with Jordan and it's just awkward. I can get it. Yeah. But, I mean, knowing that the kid has nowhere else to stay, like, I mean, you guys are supposed to still be friends.
Right.
He's dating one of your best friends.
But he's not a pound puppy. It's like, it's so heartless of you, Hannah.
Yeah.
Like,
and she's your favorite.
Like, they're clearly not on, like, terrible terms either. If they could go out and have a drink together a couple episodes ago.
Right.
So, like, that was 2 episodes ago. And
she's not really staying at her mother's house anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't get why she was so upset.
I don't know.
Those bitches be crazy.
Yeah. We had some trouble with Liam, kind of. Liam, he seems to be okay with everything.
He's not.
But he's too okay with it.
Yeah, there's some weirdness.
He's like, why did... So Ezra comes up with a solution for the book.
Mm-hmm. Right? They'll co-write.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Liam's like seeding all this stuff into Arya's head. Why does he want you to do this? And it's like, are you trying to start trouble? Like, what, like...
A little bit. I think he's also a little jealous.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, she's being published.
Can you blame him for being jealous for the way that she handled telling him, like, by not telling him, like, about her and Ezra?
Yeah, no.
Because that just makes it seem like you're hiding something.
Yes.
Which she kind of was. Yeah.
She is. Let's be honest. Okay. There's still a lot of feelings there.
There are. Because even when Arya was in the hospital, who was there? Who was there?
He stayed. He brought a bunch of stuff for her. He brought, like, some of his clothes. He brought, he was reading to her. Like, I mean, the guy cares about her.
They were joking about the staph infections pamphlet. Like, yeah. Do you really want something informative? I'll go. Why don't we give the staph infection pamphlet another try?
Right. Like, yeah. No. I mean, I feel like he's definitely picking up on it and is trying to make his mark. But I don't see him lasting much longer.
Yeah, Liam gets there and he's just like, oh, I really appreciate you being here, and he breaks them the news that they've been approved to be co-authors and they're going through with this, and Ezra's just like, yay, out the door, like little crazy like arm. Yeah, I don't know, like it was weird because he didn't know what to do with himself. He couldn't like run over and give Arya a hug. Go? Would I?
Oh God,
me.
Yeah.
Me, you're asking me.
Okay, yeah, no, sorry, you would.
Yes. Yes, I would.
You would have, like, swooped her out of the hospital bed and danced with her.
I've done the waltz down the hospital hallway. Right. With their IV as the rose. The IV bag is the rose. Very, very long stem that just happens to be, injected into her. But yeah, no. Yes, I most certainly would. No, I don't blame Ezra at all. It's like, what do you do at that point? But, he also, Ezra said, look, Arya, the reason why I want you to co-write is because Nicole's voice was lost. Mm-hmm. Do
you believe him, though?
Kind of.
I do, partly, but I don't the other part.
I think that's how it started.
Most of it was trying to save her.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a part of it, but
No, the most part of it.
Yes, but I still feel like Ezra deep down wants Nicole's voice, like, to be heard. Like, he wants that. He envisioned the second book. He envisioned the second book as this telling, and he wanted that. That was kind of how, he had it intact, and he was struggling with writer's block. This is why it never got done. And then when Arya jumps in, all of a sudden the book, and Ezra's like, oh, what you wrote is really good, and I'll try to figure something out. And, he saw it, and he's like, this is what I want. And, like, I'm able to write again. And Arya,
I get to keep Arya around in my life.
Yeah, Arya's like the laxative to his writer's block.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a disgusting way of putting it, but yes.
Hashtag laxative writer block. Yes. But Yeah. I don't know. Outside of that, we had Emily
with the
bugging out over the whistle tips.
Which I could see how she picked up on it. I mean, it was a very unique sound.
Yep.
I mean, not if you live near me, you got like all of the hood rats who think the white hood rats, by the way, who think that spending their mommy and daddy's money on exhaust stuff makes them cool. So yeah, I get it. It's a unique sound. You hear that again after that experience that she had where they clearly wanted what she had found. I mean, that's going to stand out to you.
Right. So
that guy is shady, by the way.
Yeah.
The mechanic guy?
Yeah, what was the mechanic's name? It was Patty?
Oh, I didn't know, but yeah, Patty.
It said Patty on the name tag vest, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know if his name really was Patty, if it's a nickname, like Patterson, Patty, like,
or just a shirt from, like, Savers.
Yeah. Well, no, it was a mechanic's jumpsuit.
I know.
So it could have been, maybe they had a mechanic named Patty that he's just using a leftover shirt. We don't know.
Right.
But how did Emily find this garage in the first place? Why was she, like, looking at this one in particular?
I don't know. I think maybe she was just kind of searching for the sound and went there.
Is this a coincidence that she happens to, like...
I mean, she was starting to inquire about that sound, that noise, So I think maybe somebody gave her the garage. I missed that whole part of how she got there.
I kind of missed it too. If anybody in the comments below wants to let us know, because I'm a little confused on that. But she goes looking in the garage and she's like, "Look, I'm looking for a dark gray SUV." The Patty was like super rude, and was like, "No, get out of here." And so Emily like sneaks back in, lifts the tarp on the SUV and finds it. So,
and then when they come back to him, he's grabbing money from underneath. So, I mean,
is A bribing him?
Yeah, well, clearly. I mean, if it's not A, it's somebody that really hates the girls, and they're clearly bribing him to keep his mouth shut. So we'll have to see if he plays more into it or if they let us know who was actually driving.
Well, the big thing was when
eat this earpiece.
when Emily was talking to him and took the photo and was like, "What are you doing?" And she like quickly picked up a photo of Melissa and was like, "Is this who let you borrow the truck?" And he goes, "That's not her."
Right.
He goes, "How do you know I didn't let a friend borrow it?" That's not her. So it was a girl. It was a female.
Right.
We got that much out of it.
Yeah.
So.
We'll have to figure out who. I think Mona's way too small to drive that.
Yeah. I don't think Mona would be chasing Emily up a wall, to begin with, to like...
No. I mean, even though she tried to, kill Hannah when Hannah was her best friend. But whatever.
That was when Mona was psycho, though.
Exactly.
And she's not psycho. She's just up to something. She's shady.
She's smart.
Yeah.
A little too smart.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess, the only real... is Hannah came to a conclusion that she hasn't been including Jordan in her life very much. That she came to that decision conclusion on her own.
Well, kind of.
She was having a chat with her mom, but...
No, she had a chat with her mom, and then they tried to play that game at the bridal shower, and nobody knew shite about any part of Jordan or Jordan and Hannah.
Yeah.
It was kind of shoved in her face. Then she was like, "Oh, yes, I realize." Yeah.
Yep.
There's something there, too.
Yeah.
Will they marry? Will they not?
I don't. I see everybody getting back with everybody.
Yeah, so do I. And I feel like if she doesn't marry Jordan, if he wants to come this way, hey.
All right.
All right. Shameless self-promoting,
There you go, Jordan. Call her. Next episode is called "Did You Miss Me?" And actually, before we go into this episode, just want to point out Kyle William Livingston, who left a comment in our last video, said that season 6 only has 20 episodes. We're on episode 18 right now. That leaves us 2 more.
2 more opportunities to see the twin.
Yes. So there's been talks of the twin going around, and Marlene King has basically said we will find out who the twin is in one of these 2 episodes.
Yep. And she says we've seen them one other time, which is also kind of like, seriously? I never picked up on this. So, cannot wait.
They said it's a resident of Rosewood. So, somebody who lives there.
Okay. I'm still drawing a blank on who it could be.
I'm thinking Jason.
I mean, I've always thought Jason. We discussed this last time a lot. We thought that Jason had a twin, and that was going to be A, and it ended up being Charlotte was A, and whatever. So, it would make sense, but I almost want to say she's not going to do that because everybody would expect it.
Maybe.
But I don't want to, you never say never. I'm not trying to quote Justin Bieber or anything, but I just totally did.
Well, in the books, it was Allison that had the twin.
Right.
So could Allison have another twin? Is that too much?
She's always
Is that
said that they were never going to go that way. So I'm assuming that Allison's not. But, they do like to keep us on our toes.
I think it's going to be Arya.
That would be fun. 2 Aryas.
2 Aryas.
Yeah, I'm down.
Then one of them could be evil.
And then you can have your way. Except you'd totally kind of be wrong still because it wouldn't have been Arya.
No, I wouldn't be wrong. I'd be half right. We'd each still be right.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So that would be the only scenario in which we both walk out with our pride.
Right. Either that or one of us is losing big time. And it's going to be you.
Oh, okay. Well, next episode is called Did You Miss Me? After Allison is confronted with a sudden mysterious jeopardy, the liars decide to take things into their own hands for a counterattack. Hannah and Caleb work together to develop a plan to come face to face with the tormentor. Emily and Spencer team up to investigate if Mona had any involvement with the murder. Arya and Ezra continued to work on the book, though it might be more difficult than anticipated. Meanwhile, Allie encounters an unexpected visitor.
Okay.
So...
Unexpected and Allie.
Wouldn't it be interesting if Charlotte had the twin?
Ooh.
And Charlotte wasn't really dead, and the twin was dead?
Okay, yeah, that would be very interesting, and that would be something that they would do to us.
Because you could have like a brother-sister twin. It doesn't have to be same-sex twins.
Exactly.
So
you do bring up a good point, and I'm gonna be on my toes about that one because now I'm gonna expect them to pull something like that.
That would be interesting.
That would be.
Yep.
Good call there.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm digging that scenario.
You have anything else before we wrap this up?
Nada. I think we covered it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even really get an A scene. We just got the bribe taken at the end, so I think maybe we'll see a little more out of that mechanic. Maybe it was the mechanic who was driving the whole time. Who knows?
Could have been. I mean, he seems crazy enough.
I doubt it, because then why would the mechanic hide money under his own wheel? But, maybe...
Well, maybe it was payoff money.
Yeah, maybe it was a drop-off.
Higher.
Yeah. So, who
All
knows? You can find April absolutely nowhere on social media because she's a phantom.
I am. I'm a ghost.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. You can find us all on Facebook, Gmail, or both, and others on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Till next week, 2 episodes until the finale.
Can't wait.
See you guys later.